Hey guys, we are Sean and Christy. This is Long Long Honeymoon, and we're coming at you with yet another episode of what we like to call the Loloho Tow Show.
That's right. Today we are coming to you from a very special location, one of our favorite places to camp in all of North America, Yellowstone National Park.
We're here in October, and the purpose of this video is to give you guys some pointers or tips about what to expect if you come to Yellowstone during the shoulder season. Yeah. That sort of in-between season between like the height of the summer season and winter. This period of time in October and maybe up to November, mid-November, is a really interesting time to visit these parks.
Here you can actually see there's a good bit of snow that has accumulated and stuck around here in the park in certain areas. So that's something that you have to plan on that you don't really have to think about in the summertime as much.
Yeah, from a weather standpoint, you're rolling the dice just a bit because we've been here in October before and we've had some pretty thick snowfall. But then there are days like today, warm, sunny, temperature up into the 50s, very comfortable.
Yeah, it's actually perfect weather. It was 55 today when we were at Artist Point overlooking the falls of the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. It's really hard to beat that kind of weather because you go out, you've got on a light jacket, you don't break a sweat. Now, it's pleasant during the day.
Yeah.
At night, it's pretty cold.
Christy's going full hood deployment. It's at least 22 degrees outside. It's getting down to 13. We're about to go out in it.
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Here we go. Woo! Feel that wind. Feel that cool breeze. Watch out for ice.
Several nights ago, we were in West Yellowstone and it was 11 degrees overnight. So that makes for some pretty cold camping. But last night it was in the high 20s, so it wasn't bad.
The other thing you really need to know is that most of the facilities will be closed. If you go to these parks, most restaurants, pretty much all the hotels.
I think the Snow Lodge at Old Faithful is still open right now. It really depends on when you come in October. If you come the first week of October, that's usually the last week for like Old Faithful Inn and Lake Hotel, those types of places. But once you get into mid-month in October, most of those places have already closed for the winter, and your only options are maybe a random soda fountain here or there, or the Snow Lodge at Old Faithful. But that will close in a couple of weeks and then reopen in December for the winter season.
The campgrounds are mostly closed also.
Right now in Yellowstone, there are only 2 campgrounds open. The first being Mammoth Hot Springs, which actually is open year-round. But if you come in hard winter, like January, they only have the first half of the campground open, which means you can't have a rig longer than 30 feet because there's a hairpin turn you have to make. In the summertime and in the shoulder season, they have both loops open, so you can be up to 65 feet long. So that's good news for us. The other campground is Lewis Lake, and it's bad news for us because the combined length of your rig cannot exceed 25 feet. So we are too large for Lewis Lake Campground. There's a couple of campgrounds outside the park. West Yellowstone actually has several RV campgrounds that are open year-round, so you can always find a place there. Gardner has a couple of RV parks that are open year-round, and so you've got a couple of options there as well.
So you really only have a handful of choices, especially if you have a larger RV rig when you come out here. And I will say, like Mammoth Campground, for example, it's no hookup, we're dry camping. They don't even have a dump station. They do have potable water. So you're gonna be limited on your camping choices. That's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
But the upside of being here this time of year, very low crowds. A lot of people have complained about how busy Yellowstone is getting in the height of summer season. And we've had very little traffic.
Yeah.
You know, of course, ironically, right now we're dealing with a bison jam.
It happens, you know, year round. The bison don't care what your schedule is. But one positive, I think, about this time of year, if you're towing your rig, is it's easy to stop at a lot of the interest points and find a place to park because there's so few people here. Whereas in the summertime or the height of the season, you pretty much can't stop at most of the lookout points if you're towing your rig because there's nowhere to park. And this time of year, it really doesn't matter because there's not a lot of people, and most of the parking lots that you stop in or most of the overlooks that you stop at, you're the only person stopping.
Yeah, there's never any problem with parking pretty much anywhere you go.
One thing you do have to be aware of, though, is lack of services, not just food, but gas stations. There are a couple of gas stations in the park that normally would be open, you know, in the summertime that are closed in the wintertime. So you really need to fuel up in Canyon or in Mammoth or at Old Faithful because those are pretty much your only options.
I gotta get a picture of this bison, guys.
Yeah, this bison's covered in some mud. He's been having a good old time somewhere.
He's posing for us.
He looks like he's been partying hard somewhere.
Yeah, he does.
He's got like one horn shorter than the other. Like, I don't know if that happened in a fight.
So, this is why you come to Yellowstone.
This is exactly why you come to Yellowstone. And the great thing about it is, like I said, when there's smaller crowds, you can take your time more when you're stopping to get photos. For instance, a couple of days ago, we were towing our rig up to Mammoth and we came around a bend and there was a little pull off to the side and there was a huge black bear across this pond and he was eating berries or whatever it was he had found he was snacking on. And we were able to pull over into that turnoff and sit there for a good 30 to 45 minutes taking photos of this bear across this pond because we were the only people around. There were, I think, 2 other cars that stopped and we pretty much had that bear viewing to ourselves. And in the summertime, that would not happen. In the summertime, there would be a huge horde of people. You would have a few seconds to grab a photo and then you would be, you know, shushed on by a ranger or just the flow of traffic. I highly recommend it if you want to avoid the crowds and if you don't mind a lot of the stores being closed in the park.
I think I found the hat that speaks to me. This is what Yellowstone is all about right here.
The visitor centers, for the most part, are open. They have more limited hours, but they are open.
So obviously there are some compromises in being here this time of year, but there are also a lot of upsides, at least in terms of the crowd. And you still have access to what's most important about the park, and that's to get out. You can still go hiking on all these different trails.
Yeah.
The majority of the sites are still open. I mean, you can't get in to see Old Faithful Inn because it's already closed.
Closed for the season.
But, you know, if you've already been to Yellowstone before and you've seen some of those sites, then I think it's great to come back here and be able to camp here with a little bit of snow on the ground.
Yeah, makes for some really beautiful photography.
Those parts of the road that kind of stay in the shade all day, you know, in those places there's a little bit of ice. Otherwise, the roads have been very good. So I think, you know, for many of the reasons that you come to the park, the sort of spiritual reasons and sort of getting in tune with nature and outdoors and seeing what's special about Yellowstone, all of that's still available to you this time of year. Honestly, I think I would probably rather be here towards this time of year rather than the height of summer. That's just me. And we just passed over an icy patch of highway there.
Yeah, we've got a couple icy patches coming up.
So that's what I'm talking about. You're out here this time of year, you may hit the occasional patch of ice on the road, but when you have these beautiful blue skies, sunny days, melts off a lot of that ice.
Yeah.
You know, we almost have the park to ourselves. It's just us and a few thousand Asian tourists.
Yeah, there will be lots of buses of tourists from Japan and Asia, so that is kind of fun. You'll see a lot of them unload off a bus, take a lot of photos.
All right, guys, that's it. A quick look at camping in Yellowstone during the shoulder season.
We're always looking for interesting places to visit when not a lot of other people are visiting that area. So tell us where your favorite place to go in the shoulder season is, and maybe we'll check it out in a future episode of Long Long Honeymoon.
Ooh, check out these roads, guys.
Ooh, there's some ice.
Yeah, that's some snow and ice there. That's what I'm talking about. So that pretty much wraps up this episode of the Loloho Tow Show. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel on the old YouTubes.
Yes, and if you haven't yet, please click that subscribe button. It means the world to us to have you join Loloho Nation. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave us a comment down below. Again, like I said, let us know where you like to visit on the shoulder season, or just ask us a question that we could talk about in a future episode.
Until next time, I'm Sean.
I'm Christy.
This is Long Long Honeymoon, where we say, Loloho. Woo! Icy roads.
Go Seymour, go. Getting it done.
Yeah, well, Seymour's still getting it done.
Hey guys, if you like our videos, a great way to say gracias, senor, is to visit our store on Amazon. You can go directly to amazon.com/shop/longlonghoneymoon, or you can go to longlonghoneymoon.com and click the large supply store icon on the main page. The icon is so large, I don't even need my eyeglasses to see it. In our store, you will find all sorts of cool stuff, including Long Long Honeymoon hoodies, Long Long Honeymoon t-shirts, my hat, my shoes, my old underwear, my self-respect. Everything must go. Proceeds from our Amazon store are reinvested into our show, which requires large amounts of duct tape and lubricant to keep running smoothly. Who let the flies out?